But essentially in this game, players are working together to essentially defend a tower in the center of the board, because as the enemy gets activated, they're going to be moving down these 3 different paths that you can see that are yellow, red, and green, and then slowly making their way to the center of the board. Players are going to lose if any of the enemies reach the center, or if an enemy needs to be spawned but there's no more left in the supply, or if a hero dies. And then finally, if they run out of time, because there is a time tracker that's going to be advancing periodically throughout the game. But the interesting aspect of this game comes with the player's actions, because each player is going to be playing as their own individual hero, but then each player is going to have their own upgrades and special abilities that they can unlock, as well as their own set of action tiles. And the cool thing here is that players are always going to have 3 action tiles to choose from on their turn, and they're always just going to be picking one to activate. But you're going to be drawing these from a bag, and one side of the tile is going to have the actions that you can perform, then the other side of the tile is going to have the instructions for the enemy activation. So whatever tile that you do end up choosing to activate is not only going to determine your actions, but also the actions of the enemy. But the cool thing here is that I said you will be drawing these from a bag, and whatever side of the tile that you see first is the only side that you're allowed to look at. So you're going to be putting these in a little stand in front of you so that you can see that side. When it's your turn, you're going to be choosing one of these tiles to activate with only partial information, but the other players are allowed to tell you which tiles that they would prefer more than others, but they can't tell you exactly what they see on the tile. So you're going to have to use their bit of information with the information you have to try and determine which tile that you want to choose. Of course, these actions are going to help you push back against the enemies in various ways, and the way that you do that is by deploying different units out on the board, moving those units to strategic locations, and then attacking the enemy or the enemy nests. Players normally aren't able to move through the walls in this game, so you can also perform actions to breach walls or to repair the walls as well to prevent any enemies from taking shortcuts. And then these actions can also have other effects like raising your stats on various different tracks. And these tracks are very important because they're going to affect the power of your main actions, such as moving, deploying, and attacking, because there's a movement track that's going to dictate how much movement you get when you perform that movement action. And then there's the deploy track that's going to dictate how many units you can put out with a single deploy action. And then of course the attack track will have a damage modifier, allowing you to perform more or less damage depending on where you are on that track. Also, there are a few different types of units that players can deploy out on the board. There are your main hero units, and then there are these support units that do add additional strength and attack power if they are in the same location where you are attacking. During attack, you're also going to be rolling a die that can have other effects and modifiers to that attack, adding a little bit of luck into the equation. The cool thing about these tracks is that they are another thing to link players together in the cooperative experience, because they are shared tracks, which means that some players might increase certain stats, while other players might spend those stats in order to upgrade or perform some special actions. The game also starts with drawing 6 different goal cards that players are going to have to complete in order to win the game, with each of those having different requirements in order to fulfill that goal. Of course, drawing different combinations of these goal cards will change your strategy and add variety from game to game as you try to fulfill their unique objectives. And if you are interested in this one, you'll definitely want to follow along to get an additional set of miniatures added to your pledge, and I will have this campaign linked in the description below. Also, launching